All right, so here I am on one of my spots. And today I just want to go ahead and fish with the Super Spook Boyo. So I brought a few colors. I got the chrome black back. I also have a bone color, and I have a like a bluegill-ish type of color. So I'm going to be fishing with these three colors on my home canals, and let's see how these baits work. They came across my radar a while back. I've been fishing them a lot in the Everglades with good success with peacocks and bass, but I haven't fished one in my local canals yet here in the urban areas. So let's see how this works out for me. I have this rigged on one of my BFS reels. In this case, I have on a Cast King Zephyr on a Savvy 703. And I have this with 20-pound braid, and I have tied on a 15-pound monofilament leader. Got to be very careful casting this thing because it will fly off your reel real fast. This bait looks deceptively small, but the way they distributed the weight system on it, and because it's 50% thicker than the Super Spook Jr., this lure just sings off your reel. So the Super Spook Boyo, it's the length of the Super Spook Jr. However, this is 50% thicker than that, and it's smaller than the Super Spook, the regular sized one. As you guys can see, it's two hooks. It's, like I said, 50% thicker. So it's like the thickness of a cigar type of thing. It's about 3 inches in length. Has a nice solid rattle in there. But what happens with this thing is that this rattle distributes, it moves to the back of the lure when you cast it, and the lure casts like a torpedo or a missile flying straight out this way. So you could cast this little thing for miles. So as I mentioned, I had this chrome black back tied on. Great color, like on the later part of the day when the sun's a little higher. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it. I already had it tied on, so that's why I was fishing with it. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch with the bone. It stands out a little better with this light since it's so early in the morning. So give me a second while I change this out. But here it is. Here's a fresh boyo. This is the bone colored one. What I could tell you out of the box right away is what I like about these. You have a split ring right on the nose right away to help you walk better. And the hooks are pretty good quality as well. I don't need to do much modifications out of the box, or any modifications rather, out of the box when I use one of these. And simply how to rig them, if these are your first time using a spook of any sort, I rig all my spooks the same way. So since these spooks already come with a split ring, I don't need to do a loop knot of any sort. So I could just put in my favorite, I could just tie it with my favorite knot, which is the uni knot. Just go ahead and do the famous uni knot. I just go 5 times around the loop. Cinch down. Always wet the knot though. There it is, and then just cinch it down. And that's a solid knot for you guys to learn. Go ahead and cut this tag end off. I just leave a little bit, I don't leave a lot, as you guys can see. And this bait is good to go. All right, so here's a quick tutorial on how to walk a spook. The bigger the spook, the easier it is to walk. But like I said, these right here are so easy to walk despite their size, or their length rather. So the first thing that you want to do, if this is the first time learning how to walk a spook or learn how to walk a bait, you want to make sure you get the proper adjustment on your spool tension right here. Mine's already adjusted. As you can see, my fall rate, okay, I falls quickly, but then it stops. It starts to slow down as it approaches the water. That way it doesn't overrun on my spool. But if it's your first time using a bait caster to walk a bait, or to cast rather, you may want to tighten that spool a little bit and not allow this bait to fall so quickly. And that way it's going to allow you guys to be able to handle the spool a little better, especially if you're using a Cast King Zephyr. because those shallow spools, man, these lures fly off these spools. So be careful with a Cast King Zephyr and make sure that you got your spool tension and your settings on correctly. But if you do happen to use a Cast King Zephyr, these are my settings right here. And if you do it that way, you're going to have a lot of control of your lure. I'm going to go ahead and adjust it back to how I like it, which is a little bit on the looser side. Just a little bit. There it is. And now I'm good to cast. So it doesn't take much effort to cast this boyo. I mean, I had to thumb that before it got out to the other side of the bank. And the way I fish these type of spooks or topwater walking baits is I want to let my ring settle for a little bit. I leave a little bit of slack on the line, and then I just do a very slight tap. And by doing that little tap downwards, you can see the bait automatically moving to the side. And then I go ahead and quickly correct that and do another tap, and now this bait's going to go the other way. So basically, walking a spook is just a series of light taps, as you guys can see here. People ask very good questions about walking baits and how to walk baits, and my best answer is follow this technique, but practice a lot. There is no cookie cutter way but time on the water as far as walking baits. The key is you want to give yourself enough slack on that tip and do quarter turns as you're walking it, retrieving that line, and that way you're picking up that slack as the lure is approaching you. Like this, I'm not doing much. And once you get that timing down, walking lures becomes very, very easy. So besides casting locations, there's various ways to work a spook. You could walk it quickly, like so. You could walk it slowly, with pauses. The key with any spook, rather, is I let the fish dictate to me what kind of cadence they want. Do they want it slow, with long pauses, or do they want quick little choppy movements? There's various ways you could fish the spook effectively when there's a slow bite. And you'll be surprised how by changing your cadences, what you may assume is a slow bite, they just wanted it presented a little bit differently, that's all. Now, if you're fishing for about an hour or so with no luck whatsoever, then by all means change the color or change the bait altogether, because it may not be a topwater bite after all. A fish strike on a spook can be very subtle. They could just come up and just slurp it. Most of the time, it's an aggressive bite. You'll see the fish come up, the bass or the peacock, and they just crush it. I'm hoping to come across a catch today to show you guys how to set the hook on these things. However, in the event that I don't catch anything, the best way I could tell you guys to set the hook on a spook is to do a sweep set. You don't want to do an aggressive hook set on a spook or any treble bait for that matter. You just want to do a sweep set, which basically means you're just going to turn or swivel your hips away from the lure as the strike occurs. And that way you rake the hooks across the mouth of the fish. And as I mentioned, spooks come in different sizes. They have very, very big ones, and then they have these smaller ones. I like these smaller ones in these systems because it's like a morsel size. It's a perfect size of a bait fish. So I get to test the waters, basically, quote unquote. So what happens, for example, is if I'm like if I start catching a lot of fish and I've zeroed in that the bite, it's a top water spook bite, but I want to target bigger fish, what I'll do is I'll just change sizes and go for a bigger size to target bigger fish. But I've already identified with this that the fish are willing to hit a spook. There's one. There's something. There's something. It's fighting like a Mayan, though. Yeah, it's a Mayan. It's a big Mayan. It's common for us. Got to be very careful handling these guys. You see? It's not bad. When handling a Mayan, you got to be very careful because they do got like little teeth here, so you can't really lip them. So be very careful handling these guys. There he is. I got one. I saw that. That was cool. It's a juvenile peacock bass. A juvenile peacock bass. So I know that was a little peacock, but I want to share with you guys how I caught that little peacock. So what happened was, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a shower of minnows that jumped out of the water in the middle of the canal system. And that wasn't my lure that scared it. Something was chasing those minnows. So because I was fishing this actual bone-colored boyo, what I started doing was I really picked up the pace to make it look like a fleeing minnow, and that little peacock crushed it. There he is. He crushed it. It's a nice little peacock with a trailer. Let's see if I can catch them both. That would be crazy. It's a nice peacock. I'll take it. I only swam it. I only moved it 2 times before he crushed it. That was pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can see my finger, but that peacock was around that piling over there along the bank line. I cast my boyo over to the right side of it, and he just swam across and just crushed it. The Super Spook Boyo. You guys owe it to yourself to try some of these out. They come in an assortment of colors. You can use it as a search lure. You can use it as a primary lure. I really enjoy them. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. Like the video, share the video. Better yet, just subscribe to the community. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks again.